Hey everybody, it's Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doctor. Today is Friday, March 13th, and it is noon. Friday, March 13th. Wow. I appreciate you joining me here today. Please type in and let me know you're joining in from. I want to be sober about today and be somber, but I also want to bring balance to you. Several of you had asked me to see if I would come online. I actually had someone from a wholesale distributing company saying we need leadership here, and I think that's certainly the case. I was reminded of a Sunday morning service I had when I went to First Congregational Church in Long Beach, and the guy's name was John. And he started out by saying, it's June gloom, and my roses all have mildew. Oh, and it's tax season. And he said, as someone who is dying from AIDS, I can either decide to stay in that mind frame or say today is a beautiful day. And I think ultimately all of us have to have that same realization that ultimately we have the biggest challenge ahead, which is how do we manage our own mindset about what's happening around us. So I today wanted to go through and kind of recap where we are. You know, today is Friday, that things are actually changing around us quickly, that we are finding that, they shut Disneyland to the end of the month, that a lot of major sports teams, sports associations have stopped. And I think we have to address the idea that realistically, business as we know it is going to hit the pause button for realistically the next 2 weeks. And while we may not want to hear that, that's ultimately what is going to happen to us. So, I have read, some people have been sending me this bookstore owner who set out a note saying, I'm dying here, and went into all of these things. And I want you to move away from the that part, and I want you to think of what we're going through right now as it's after 9/11. Today is 9/11, and 9/11 is going to be very long, or well, we don't know it's going to be very long, but it's definitely here. We're in 9/11, and we couldn't even think that there could be a 9/12 because everybody came out and said how we were all going to die, and people we didn't know were going to do things, and it was a scary time. And then we learned that, oh, there's a 9/12 and a 9/13, and normalcy ultimately did come back to us. I have to believe in my heart that's what's going to happen. I have to believe we're there. And I want you to think today, the reason I went live today, is I want you to think that your town has been hit by a natural disaster. It's a flood, it's a winter snowstorm, it's hail, whatever it's going to be. And ultimately, that's the mindset. What's your mindset in a natural disaster? We have to help everyone. That's the right attitude. To say it's about me is the wrong time to be sending that message. So those of you who think that getting online and saying, please come in here and support me because I need your money, this is not the thing that's going to bring people to you. If anything, that's going to turn people off because they want to feel like you know them. So if you have to close, and let's just be honest, you may have to close. I certainly expect that people will limit their hours, and because also your own employees, if you haven't had that meeting, I shared my post with you yesterday as well as today and said, have a meeting and talk honestly about what's going on. Remember, you are the one your crew is looking forward to. You are the one that has to be the hero here. You are the adult in the relationship. Do not go down to the lowest common denominator of social media and share scare and panic. We got enough of it already. It's up to you to help us to bring that down. That's what a leader does. A leader talks calmly and carefully. So let's just say if you have to close, or, let's be honest, most people aren't going out right now. And if you have to close, in your mind, instead of going, why me, it's terrible, start thinking, well, what would I be able to fill my time with? Whether that's for 2 weeks, 1 week, doesn't matter. There's a lot of things you can do housekeeping that you could be looking at. You can be looking at your Excel spreadsheets, your POS system. You're looking at your buying reports. You are going to get a better business owner after this. You can also be doing other housekeeping things in your house. Good cleanliness is never a bad idea around spring, as well as in your store if you're going to stay open. Now's the time to do a deep clean and do everything else. But I think this idea that if I just showed people I was cleaning my store, they're going to come in, is not realistic. People are being told, don't go out. People are saying, don't go to major areas. So that's what we're dealing with. And that's not going to change because you're begging me to come in, right? So if you also have that idea that we'll just put everything on sale for 30% off. That's not the idea either. They're not coming in. So acknowledge that and say, how can I be creative? You know, retailers are the most optimistic people in the world. Some of us seem to forget that. Nobody walks in and decides to open a retail business and goes, I'm going to lose a hell of a lot of money when I first start. This is great. No one does that. Pessimistic people aren't there. We are the creative ones. You know it when I know it. You make that bad buy and you're like, well, how am I going to make this go out the door? And then you come up with a different story around it. Or, you know, if you have two stores, like one guy or one gal does really well with one product and somebody else doesn't do anything with it, it's because that one guy has figured it out. He said, I know how to sell this. That's the people I want you to rise up from this muck and become. I need you to be strong because I'm depending on you to be here when I need you in 2 weeks, just like your customers are. And so I wrote a few things down because I want to be very careful. I want to be the reasoned voice in this. I know there's a lot of people out there who are panicking. I don't want to be that for you. I want to be able to give you some things I think could help. So it's interesting. I just talked to Danielle from Springboard Retail POS this morning for a podcast episode, probably in April. And she was telling me how her 17-month-old in preschool, how their preschool, when they've been seeing like they're going to close everything, parents are kind of freaking out because obviously that means they're going to have to take care of them a different way. And she said how what they've done is they have taught the kids songs how to wash their hands, and they brought in different artists, so like a guitarist or something else to make it fun. Then they've made sure that they video it and show it live so the parents all see that. And she goes, my daughter at 17 months knows more how to wash her hands than I ever did, knows how to make lather. And I said, has she even been potty trained? She goes, no, she's 17 months. But they've taken it as, okay, this is a learning thing that we should be doing. That's the attitude I want from you. And again, if you are listening to people that say now is the time for big discounts, I think that is wrong. That is this idea that somehow you are going to generate, you're going to be able to overcome enough fear to get someone to come into your store because it's 40% off. I guarantee you that's not a fun place to work. So one thing I want you to consider, those of you who have vital downtown associations, community, chambers of commerce. Sorry, little mental fade there. I want you to think about going back to them and saying, I want you to come up with a web page where people who want to support us can buy our gift cards and they can use it anytime in the future. They can support our small business without having to come out, and they'll be able to help our local economy stay in business. That's what exciting is going to be. Or go out and talk to your bank. How could you do this? Because a bank would love the chance to be able to help you out. But also make sure that, you know what, you may need to go to a bank and say, I don't know if I'm going to be able to survive for 2 weeks. What can you do about funding? And whether they get together in Washington and figure this out and with small business loans, it's your local community that's going to decide this. It is a we opportunity, not an I. So if you believe in what I'm saying, give me some thumbs up, give me some love, because ultimately I'm trying to get more people to realize that there are things we can do if we work together. And this is one of the ones that I think is there. You know, a lot of people can purchase gift cards online. They can go through and they can be supporting you. It doesn't matter if you're a hairdresser, doesn't matter if you're a nail salon, doesn't matter if you're an apparel retailer. Ultimately, get your association, get your bank to do that, and then get your local press to say, we have got this, we have got to work together to keep them in business. Again, go back. This is like 9/12. This is like a major flood, except we're not seeing the damage like down trees and homes. What it's going to be is the bottom line. And this is the way we're going to fix it. But I need you to go out there and demand this of your local chamber of commerce, your association. You call up the bank president and say, hey, we're in this together. I've banked with you for 50 years. I need your help here. We're going to rally the troops. But sitting around and having a pity party is not going to help anybody. All right, so I get it. People are struggling. I get it. I get it. I get it. Trust me, I'm a speaker. I've had more events canceled on me in the last few days than ever. So what? It's not about me. It's about keeping us safe. All right? A little bit of a rant there, I think. Maybe. So, and then the other thing, I won't stay too long on this today. I'll go through your questions in just a second. If you have any questions that I can do, then please type it in there and I'll read through them at the end. But be careful of the scarcity mindset. that there's only so much business and I need mine. We have got to stay in abundance of there's an abundance of opportunity if I just look at it right. So this might be a time that you're looking at updating your online store. This might be a time that you are actually calling your 20 best customers. You are thinking, how do I help other people who are struggling like me? Because you know what? It's not about you. It's about think about all of these people who are home. Now they're working on Zoom and they're in front of their computer all day and they can't go out of their house. They're going crazy. So what's one thing you could do to make it easy? If you're a toy store, what's one game you could create? How to create a game with your kids if you're going to have to be home? What if you're at home and you're sick of having the same thing? What could they do to prepare something differently? What is a silly game you could play? But we have got to elevate our mindsets into we can deal with this. We're better than this. And if we don't fix that, then I think it's going to be a tough time to get out of, because here's what's going to happen. We are going to find some way that this either dies out or mitigates or whatever. We know that's going to probably happen. They're already saying they expect the stock market by the end of the year will probably still be at about down 1% or something. Whether that's right or wrong, I am not a financial advisor. Don't take my advice. I'm also not a medical examiner. Don't take that as but what is going to happen is, when we cross that threshold, are you going to be ready? Is your store going to look better than ever has? Are your employees going to be better trained? Are you going to be a better business person? Or are you going to have sunk into despair and said there's no way out? I guarantee you there's a way out. I guarantee you there's a way for you to stay focused, and I guarantee there's a way for you to stay positive. So get out there today and realize that you've got to use that choice muscle. I've talked about it for 3 years now. Your choice. Just like my friend John, who ultimately died of AIDS about 6 months after he made that sermon at our church. Right or wrong, what kind of day is it going to be? Am I going to solve this? Am I going to stay focused? Or am I going to give in to despair and hopelessness? Ultimately, your crew is looking for you to lead. They're looking for you to be positive, and they're looking for answers. And even if you don't have answers, your questions become, how can I, instead of why me? I've said it all day yesterday when I was talking to people. We are in it's a we moment, not an I. So those you talk about, it's a buy local and support me. It is not about support me. It's how do I support everybody else? And ultimately, go out there and talk to your bank. I want you to tell me that you called your bank. Say, would you be interested in us finding a way to do this? But we need your help to put the right spin on this. And again, some people are like, oh, well, it's not in my community. It doesn't matter. Fear is everywhere. And just yesterday, I think if you had a little meter of showing how it went up, like throughout the day, it just kept ticking up and ticking up. And I need you to help us with that. So does that sound good? If so, put it in your comments. I'm now going to go through your questions. So if you want to stay on, I'll look and see if there's any questions. But this is not about me. I'm here to just try to help you keep your head in the game. And let's do this together. And let's find a way, instead of going down this wrong way of saying, it's poor me party. Okay, fair enough. So I got a lot of good mornings. Thanks for that. A lot of people are joining in. Again, if you like what I have to say, give me some thumbs up, because then more people will say it. We'll see it, but ultimately it's affecting all businesses. You're exactly right, Kathy. Health and happy, don't close your doors. Well, that sounds great, Carol, but at the end of the day, if I have employees who have a sniffle, are you going to keep them on? Of course not. So I know that I was looking at one website, and they said, people who either employees or customers enter with sniffles will be asked to leave, or a cough. And maybe that's something we have to do too. Maybe, a friend of mine was saying how when he entered Japan not that long ago, it says remove your cap and look up, and there's actually a heat sensor looking at and see if you have a temperature. I wouldn't doubt that in 10 years we're going to have an app on a phone that pretty much shows that when you walk in. Because whatever happens with this virus, you know that in 2 or 3 years there's going to be another one, and public safety is going to take a new turn. But for now, trying to figure out what exactly are we doing. We're offering local delivery with purchase online, already had 2 sales. That's brilliant, Cheryl, exactly. I'm not discounting anything. I'm working on expanding my website, exactly, Virginia. I'm not discounting. I posted a reminder that we sell gift cards. Yeah, that's good, Heather, but I think the key for this, if you really are tapped into the buy local movement, you've got to get everybody to join in and get bigger players to help you get this message out. That's going to be a bank, that's going to be your chamber, that's going to be your trade associations, to make it easy that people can give you money. Both Democrat and Republican parties have figured out, that you can donate really quick with one button. That's your goal. You don't want to make it convoluted that somebody has to see it. And instead of saying, please support us by a gift card, you got to say something like, hey, it's a rain check moment. Give us your money, and this will be good when we pass through this. Anything that you can keep it positive is going to be great. But the weepy is just, it might get play on your local airtime. It doesn't bring people to you. People want to support people who are hopeful. That's what retail always has done. That's why you are watching me instead of hopefully CNN all the time. So there you go. Cheryl, glad you like it. The bigger issue is why can't you get through 2 weeks? You should be more financially stable. Well, that's fine, Carolyn. It's a good idea to say we need a plan for 2 weeks, but there's a lot of people who live week by week, and realistically, all we care about right now is it's a we, not an I. It's saying, where are we? What can we do better? Asking your friends what we can do better instead of commiserating and getting on the phone and talking about how it sucks to you. And if a news camera comes down, you're deserted downtown and you're still open and you're the only ones, and they ask things like, do you think this is responsible? You say, I'm here trying to figure it out with you. We're trying to put together a coalition of how do we keep our downtown businesses and keep it positive. Cindy, not sure what you are asking the bank to do besides emergency funding. Cindy, what I am suggesting you do is you are saying, I want you to come up with a web page that shows all of our local businesses, and it's an easy way for them to buy a gift card from us by clicking. Reason I say your bank is because they probably have the funds to do it. A chamber might be able to do it. Somebody might do this for free for your downtown association. And then you're going to the papers and saying, I need some stories about positive things that people can do and how we're going to be creating events for that. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's why I appreciate the questions. Again, I am your number one advocate. I am trying to keep you going in the right way. Mohammed says, we decided we are not closing our walk-in locations, but getting work done. We also put a routine and disinfect and wash hands every time deliveries come every 2 hours. That all makes sense. Nancy, love your positivity. I agree. There are benefits to be found. We just have to work at it every day. I am totally with you. And Melissa, yes, offering local delivery is great, but again, someone's gonna have to get in a car, and at some point, what I think the goal is, what can you do to make it easier? You might say local delivery and we'll drop it at your door or something like that. But again, you're trying to figure this out. That's kind of it, right? Simone says, never mind gimmicks for now. What retailers should be doing is revising their upcoming orders. Well, that's true too. Charlie is offering a gift card value at a mistake like discounting. For example, buy a 25 gift card and add 25. No, wouldn't say that, Charlie. All you're trying to get people to do is pay you for your stuff to keep you in business. And it's hard for people to figure that out because they can't go and physically do it. So whatever you can do, I wouldn't do a GoFundMe or something like that. You want to show that all I'm doing is giving value to it. Years ago, Cindy, I think, had the $350. You're supposed to take 3 retailers that you would miss and give them $50 to shop with them each week to keep them around. I don't know. I haven't seen her or them around for a while, but the idea is still that same idea. You're just putting a positive spin on it. This is our rain check moment for the next 2 weeks, and you can help us, and then that daily cash flow can help. Do I have all the answers? I would not begin to believe I have all the answers. But I do believe that each of you, with your own creativity as retailers, can help us through this. So please don't go through and share panic. We are in a we moment, not an I. And just remember, it's a choice how we look at this. I'm going to crack the code. I'm going to find a way. And we're going to be better on the other side. If it has any value of you, certainly leave comments in the section below. I'll certainly do it. If you feel that this message is valid, certainly feel free to share it. But make no mistake, I am here on your side. I just want to call you up from the mud and say, you can do this. I'm Bob Phibbs, the Retail Doc. I'll see you certainly Sunday at 9 a.m. for my usual Facebook Live video.